Welcome back everyone. So in the last video, we solved the number of employees which report to each employee, which was 30th question in SQL 50 series. And in this video, we are going to solve primary department for each employee. So let's dive in. Okay, so in this question, we are given an employee table, which has three columns: employee ID, their department ID, and the primary flag. Employee ID, comma department ID is primary key, and employee ID is the ID of the employee. Department ID is the ID of the department which the employee belongs. Primary flag is an enum category of type Y or N. If the flag is Y, the department is the primary department for the employee. If the flag is N, the department is not primary. So an employee belongs to a department with the department ID, and the department can be primary or not. It depends on the flag. So if the flag is yes, which means that department is the primary, else it is not primary. Now employees can belong to multiple departments. When the employee join other department, they need to decide which department is their primary department. Note that when an employee belongs to only one department, their primary column is N. This is the main information here that will help us solve this problem. So that when an employee belongs to only one department, then the primary column will always be N. But if the employee belongs to multiple department, then either one of the department will be their primary department, which means their flag is yes. Okay, now we have to write a solution to report all the employee with their primary department. For employees who belong to one department, report their only department. We can return the result in any order. So for example, in this table employee 1 has only one department, that is first. So we'll report this. For employee 1, the department ID is 1. For employee 2, since employee 2 belong to two departments, one of the department will be their primary department, which is again 1, since it has primary flag as Y. So for 2, the department ID is also 1. For 3, since it's a single entry, it has department of 3. And for the 4, since employee with employee ID of 4 belongs to 3 department, 2, 3 and 4, one of the department will be primary department, and that is the third department. So for employee with employee ID 4, the primary department is 3. So we already got hint in the problem to solve this problem, that is when an employee belongs to only one department, their primary column is N. So think logically that how should you solve this problem. So let me give you a hint. So we divide this table in groups, okay, using employee ID. So this will be one of the group, and then this will be one of the group. This will be another group with single entry, and this will also be another group with single entry. What difference you found in these groups? The difference is that the group with single entry always have primary flag as N, as it is also mentioned in the question. So the first entry and the entry with employee ID of 3 has flag N. So if we select these entries, we can report them directly. That is 1 1 and 3 3. That is 1 1 and 3 3. The problem comes for the employees who have joined multiple departments. For example, employee 2 and employee 4. Now for these groups, we can like write some more conditions to select only those entries in which the primary flag is Y. So there is two things. If the group has a single entry, we directly report employee ID and the department ID. But if a group has multiple entries, we will select only that entry which has primary flag as Y. That's it. So if you want to try out, please pause this video. Okay, as I already said, you will have to handle this in different ways. For those group which have only single entry, and for those group which have multiple entries. So we can write something like this. First we select all the single entries. So we'll select what? Employee ID and department ID from employee table. Group by what? Employee ID having count of departments equal to 1. So what we did is we selected employee ID and their department ID where the number of departments in that group is 1. For example, in this group we have only single department. In this group we have only single department. but in this group we have two departments. Okay, so we'll not consider this group. So this query will give employee ID and department for those employee who have only single department. Okay, now we have to write another query that will solve the problem for the group. So we write having department count greater than 1. Okay, so in this case what we have to select, so you see here this will be one of the group and this will be one of the group. So since we have grouped by employee ID, we can select the employee ID, but how should we select department ID? To select the department ID, we have to write another condition that their primary flag is Y. So we can write where primary flag is Y. So what exactly will happen in this query is, first where condition is applied on this table, where this entry will be left out and this entry will be left out. So in the resulting table, we have only two entries and there is no need for the group by. So as I said, first the where clause will be applied, which means only this entry will be left out and this entry will be left out in the resulting table. And from those resulting entries, we will select employee ID and department ID. And then we'll return the result by using union. So let me explain you again. First, we'll select those group where the department count is 1. That is this entry and this entry. Then in the next query, we'll select the groups where the primary flag is Y. Now, the thing is, in this query, only those entries will be selected where the count of departments in that group is 1, and we are sure that if the department count is 1, then their primary flag is N. Okay, is 1. And in the next query, if the primary flag is Y, then we are sure that the employee must be having multiple departments. That's why the primary flag is Y for this particular entry. So we selected both the results and we then join these two result set and return the final result sets. So let me run the query. Okay, before that, let me show you the individual results. Let me comment this. So this first query will give us all those like employee ID, comma department ID, where the department count is 1. So you see only employee with ID of 1 and 3. That is this entry and this entry. And for the next query, this will give us this entries and sorry, this entry and this entry, that is 2 and 4. Okay, and we join these two result set to get the final result set. Okay, so our test case has been passed. Now we'll submit this. And all the test case has been passed.